Aligning with God's standard time. One of the greatest challenges to living with overflowing hope is the tension between human timing and divine timing. People often expect progress according to their own schedules, milestones, and expectations. Yet Scripture consistently reveals that God's timing is structured very differently from human timing. Ecclesiastes 3:1 states, "To everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven." This truth immediately reshapes how hope functions. Hope is not simply believing for a result, it is trusting in the sequence, the timing, and the development that leads to the result. Overflowing hope understands that delay does not equal denial, and waiting does not equal stagnation. God's standard time is not bound by human clocks, calendars, deadlines, or pressures. Where people see late, God sees right on time. Where people see nothing happening, God sees preparation in progress. Hope overflows when a person aligns their expectations with the timing and rhythm of God's purpose. Throughout Scripture, timing is emphasized repeatedly, revealing patterns of how God works in human lives. Psalm 31 verse 15 declares, "My times are in your hands." This is more than a poetic statement. It is a declaration of trust. It acknowledges that the journey, the development, the waiting, and the fulfillment are all part of a precise, intentional timeline. Galatians 4:4 adds, "When the fullness of the time had come, God sent his Son, not early, not late, exactly on time." This verse reveals something profound. If the arrival of Christ himself followed a divine schedule, then the details of a person's life also follow a divine schedule. Hope grows when this truth becomes an anchor in the heart. Human timing is based on visible progress. Divine timing is based on unseen preparation. The two often do not match. This mismatch can create frustration or discouragement, but it is also where hope grows deepest. Isaiah 55:8-9 says, "My thoughts are not your thoughts. My ways are higher than your ways." Higher ways include higher timing. Higher timing means processes that may not always be understood. But higher timing also guarantees outcomes that exceed human expectation. When hope aligns with divine timing, several things happen. Anxiety decreases, pressure lifts, patience grows, perspective strengthens, confidence increases. Hope does not weaken during the wait. It expands. In human understanding, waiting often looks like inactivity. But Scripture reveals that waiting is often the most active part of God's work. Isaiah 40:31 says, "Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength." The word wait here does not mean passive sitting. It means active expectation. It is the posture of a person who knows something is developing, even if it is not visible yet. Overflowing hope recognizes that what looks like delay is often the shaping of character, the alignment of circumstances, the arrangement of connections, the protection from premature outcomes, or the maturing of purpose. God uses time to prepare situations and shape individuals. Hope understands this and refuses to collapse under the pressure of delay. Seeds take time before they become visible. Although we are avoiding stories, Scripture often uses metaphors to reveal spiritual truth. One of the clearest is the imagery of seeds. Mark 4:27 describes the process. "The seed sprouts and grows, though he does not know how." Growth begins beneath the surface. It begins in silence. It begins in hidden places. By the time progress becomes visible, much has already occurred. Hope aligns with this principle. Something is happening even when nothing can be seen. Progress is unfolding even when evidence is absent. Development is taking place even when the environment feels unchanged. Hope overflows when the heart understands that visible results are not the only indicator of growth. Immediate results often appeal to the human mind, but immediate is not always beneficial. Some successes require maturity. Some opportunities require preparation. Some doors require the strengthening of internal capacity. Scripture makes this clear in Psalm 37, verse 7. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Patience is not weakness, it is wisdom. Patience is not inactivity, it is alignment. Patience is not resignation, it is faith. Overflowing hope is rooted in the conviction that the right thing at the wrong time can become harmful, but the right thing at the right time becomes life-changing. Hope increases when timing is entrusted to God. Hope becomes stronger when a person is willing to trust what they cannot yet observe. Scripture calls this faith, but it is also a dimension of hope. Hebrews 11:1 says, "Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see." Hope and faith work together. Hope gives direction. Faith gives substance. Hope says, it is possible. Faith says, it is happening. Hope sets the destination. Faith takes the steps. Overflowing hope is sustained by the willingness to trust what is unseen, knowing that God is active in ways beyond human perception. Divine timing produces stability. When a person accepts divine timing, stability enters their life. Their emotions are not dictated by fluctuations in circumstances. Their outlook is not controlled by delays. Their confidence is not interrupted by slow movement. Psalm 125, verse 1, illustrates this stability. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be shaken. Hope built on divine timing becomes unshakable. It is consistent. It is anchored. It is steady. This stability strengthens mental health, emotional resilience, and decision-making. It allows a person to navigate challenges with clarity rather than panic. Another transformative scripture is 2 Peter 3:8. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. This verse reveals that time is not measured the same way in heavens on earth. It is a reminder that what feels slow to humans may be swift to God. What feels insignificant to humans may be essential to God. This perspective liberates the heart from unnecessary pressure. Hope overflows when the heart embraces the truth that progress is not always visible, but always real where God is involved. Hope does not require everything to be perfect. Hope requires alignment with purpose and trust in timing. Psalm 27:14 offers encouragement. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart, and wait for the Lord. Two instructions are repeated. Wait. Take heart. The phrase take heart means to maintain inner strength, confidence, and expectation. Hope is not passive waiting. It is active endurance. A person who takes heart during the wait makes wise decisions, nurtures inner peace, maintains a healthy mindset, continues progressing purposefully, and stays aligned with Scripture. This alignment creates emotional strength that sustains hope for the long term. Scripture teaches that divine timing is purposeful, intentional, and interconnected. Romans 8:28 reveals a principle that influences timing. In all things, God works for the good of those who love Him. All things includes delays, transitions, challenges, waiting seasons, unexpected shifts, internal development. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is accidental. Nothing is irrelevant. Hope overflows when the heart recognizes that timing is part of divine orchestration. One of the greatest enemies of hope is comparison. When a person compares their progress to someone else's, discouragement grows. But Scripture cautions against comparison. Galatians 6:4 says, "Each one should test their own actions without comparing themselves to someone else." Comparisons distort perspective. They create pressure. They weaken hope. They distract from purpose. Divine timing is unique for every individual. What happens quickly for one person may unfold gradually for another. What arrives early for someone else may arrive at the perfect moment for you. Hope strengthens when comparison ends. Confidence comes from knowing God is leading the process. Jeremiah 29:11 provides one of the clearest assurances of divine guidance. "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to give you a future and a hope." This scripture eliminates the fear of uncertainty. It removes the anxiety of not knowing. It reassures the heart that the future is not random or unprotected. Overflowing hope is rooted in confidence that guidance is already in place, purpose is already established, and the future is already accounted for by God's wisdom. Let these affirmations settle deeply within you. My times are in divine hands. I release pressure. I release comparison. I release anxiety about timing. I trust the process. I trust the preparation. I trust what is unseen. I trust that the right doors will open at the right time. Possibility continues to unfold. Purpose continues to develop. Hope continues to overflow. Because divine timing is perfect, my confidence remains secure. This is the power of aligning with God's standard time. Overflowing hope is not a vague concept or a modern idea. It is a biblical reality demonstrated by individuals who faced uncertainty, delay, and impossible circumstances. Their lives showcase the strength of confident expectation and reveal patterns that apply to anyone seeking to walk in greater hope today. This chapter focuses on Abraham, David, Joshua, and Caleb, 4 figures whose responses to difficult situations reveal how overflowing hope is developed, strengthened, and sustained. These examples are not included to elevate people, but to reveal principles. Principles that uplift, principles that clarify, principles that increase hope in the heart of anyone willing to receive them. Romans 4:18-21 provides one of the clearest definitions of overflowing hope. Against all hope, Abraham in hope believed. He did not weaken in faith. He did not waver through unbelief. He was fully persuaded that God had power to do what he had promised. Abraham faced a situation in which no natural evidence supported his expectation. Yet Scripture does not emphasize his circumstance. It emphasizes his persuasion, his conviction, his mindset. 3 principles of overflowing hope from Abraham. 1. He acknowledged the facts but refused to let them define the outcome. Romans 4:19 says, Abraham recognized the condition of his body and Sarah's age, but he did not allow those facts to dominate his belief. Overflowing hope does not deny reality. It simply refuses to limit possibility based on reality. It considers facts without surrendering to them. 2. He strengthened his confidence by focusing on the promise, not the problem. Romans 4:20 says he grew stronger in faith. Strength here is connected to focus. His attention remained on what God said, not on what circumstances displayed. Hope increases when focus aligns with truth rather than limitation. 3. He became fully persuaded. This persuasion was not based on outcomes, but on God's character. Hope overflows when persuasion is rooted in the one who cannot fail. David faced opposition, uncertainty, and pressure many times. Yet the way he expressed confidence reveals how hope speaks. Psalm 27:13 says, I remain confident of this. I will see the goodness of the Lord. This statement is not passive. It is decisive. It is a declaration. It is a commitment to expectation. Psalm 23 verse 6 adds, Surely goodness and mercy will follow me. The word surely is the vocabulary of overflowing hope. 3 principles of hope from David. 1. David chose confidence even when circumstances were unclear. He did not wait for evidence before believing in goodness. He believed before he saw. Hope is strengthened when confidence precedes clarity. 2. David used decisive language that aligned with expectation. Words shape internal atmosphere. David understood that declarations reinforce mindset. His vocabulary reflected conviction, not doubt. Overflowing hope requires language that aligns with confidence. 3. David anchored his expectation in God's character, not in his situation. Psalm 27 and 23. Reflect trust in who God is, protector, guide, provider. Hope overflows when character becomes the foundation of expectation. Joshua and Caleb demonstrate the mindset of surely we can overcome. Numbers 13-14 presents a defining moment. 12 individuals evaluated the same environment, but only Joshua and Caleb responded with overflowing hope. Numbers 13:30 records their declaration, we can certainly do it. Numbers 14:8 expands this, if the Lord is pleased with us, He will lead us and give it to us. Their mindset was rooted in possibility, not fear. Their expectation was grounded in trust, not limitation. Their conclusion was built on confidence, not obstacles. 3 principles of hope from Joshua and Caleb. 1. They saw the same challenges as others, but interpreted them differently. Hope does not remove obstacles, it reframes them. Hope does not eliminate difficulty. It evaluates it through possibility. Perspective determines expectation. 2. They used decisive, confident language. Instead of saying, the giants are too big, they said, we can certainly overcome. Hope expresses itself with clarity, strength, and confidence. 3. Their confidence positioned them for fulfillment. Out of the 12, only 2 entered the promised land. Their mindset shaped their direction. Hope influences destiny. Hope guides decisions. Hope determines the path forward. Overflowing hope leads a person toward the opportunities aligned with their purpose. Abraham, David, Joshua, and Caleb each demonstrate a central truth. Hope is not accidental. It is intentional. It is a chosen focus, a cultivated mindset, a disciplined expectation, a confident declaration. These figures show that hope sees beyond circumstance, speaks with confidence, aligns with divine purpose, and positions a person for progress. This is not theory. It is a scriptural pattern. What these examples teach about modern hope. While the contexts of Abraham, David, Joshua, and Caleb occurred thousands of years ago, the principles they lived by are timeless. 1. Conditions do not define outcomes. You can rise above limitation. You can progress beyond obstacles. You can experience breakthroughs beyond expectations. Hope enables this rise. 2. Confidence grows through repeated truth. Hope must be fed. Hope must be reinforced. Hope must be strengthened through Scripture and expectation. This keeps the internal atmosphere aligned with possibility. 3. Language shapes results. Your declarations influence your mindset. Your vocabulary influences your confidence. Your words influence your future. Hope requires intentional speech. 4. Perspective determines direction. Joshua and Caleb remind us that the difference between defeat and victory is often perspective, not environment. Hope lifts perspective to match the promise rather than the problem. 5. Alignment creates fulfillment. Every person who overflowed with hope walked in alignment with truth, with promise, with purpose, with timing. Alignment leads to manifestation. These figures demonstrate the importance of mental resilience. Their thoughts were disciplined. Their focus was intentional. Their expectations were clear. Romans 12, chapter 2, teaches, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." This renewal is not occasional. It is continuous. The mind naturally drifts toward fear, limitation, and doubt. Renewal redirects it toward truth, possibility, and confidence. Hope becomes strong when the mind is consistently aligned with Scripture. Hope is challenged most intensely at the emotional level. When circumstances shift, when delays occur, when challenges rise, the emotions often resist hope. But Scripture offers stability. Psalm 34 verse 4 says, "I sought the Lord, and He answered me. He delivered me from all my fears." This suggests that emotional stability grows when fear loses influence. Hope becomes possible when emotional weight is lifted. Hope becomes consistent when fear is addressed. Hope is not built on emotion, but emotion can support or resist it. Overflowing hope requires emotional clarity and inner peace. Why these examples are vital for today's listener. Hope is not a concept for the past. It is a tool for the present. People today face uncertainty, pressure, fatigue, delays, and challenges, just as biblical figures did. The difference is perspective. The difference is expectation. The difference is alignment with truth. Abraham teaches persuasion. David teaches confident expectation. Joshua and Caleb teach perspective and boldness. Together they reveal hope is a mindset, a discipline, and a spiritual force that unlocks possibility. These examples encourage anyone, even those unfamiliar with Scripture, to embrace. Higher thinking, deeper confidence, expanded possibility, and consistent expectation. Speak or receive these words internally. I focus on what is possible. I release limiting perspectives. I align with truth. I speak with confidence. I strengthen my mind. I stabilize my emotions. I adopt a mindset of belief. I choose overflowing hope. Surely goodness and purpose follow me. I walk in persuasion, expectation, and confidence. Just as Abraham, David, Joshua, and Caleb lived with unshakable conviction, I adopt the same principles into my journey. Hope is rising, confidence is growing, possibility is unfolding.